Our three officials today: Bob Harold out of Southern California, Frank Buckowitz, who lives up here in Washington, and Tom Harrington. In their earlier meeting this year down at Eugene, Washington beat Oregon 58-46. It was Oregon's coldest shooting game of the year. They only had 33%, and they didn't have John Murray. He was out that day with the flu.
Yeah, Jim Haney said before the game that his team has played well on the road, probably because they have shot well. They'll have to shoot well this afternoon.
Richard Wright of Oregon kicked it out of bounds, and it'll belong to the Washington Huskies. Washington comes in 15-7 overall, 6-7 in conference play. Oregon 4-10 in the league and 9-14. But Oregon's played very well the last month.
They have, and on the road, they have won 3 out of 7 conference games. That's always good, of course.
Stan Walker, Washington's leading scorer, has his pass deflected. It goes to Felton Seeley. Seeley and Richard Wright out front. The big man, Ron Burns, off the high post. It goes now to Ray White, and he brings it to Jerome Williams.
Washington opens up in a man-to-man defense. They'll play both man-to-man and zone. Oregon will be exclusively man-to-man.
Jerome Williams, who had 16 points over at Washington State on Thursday night, has his first 2. So Oregon scores first. James Woods to Bob Frank. Lorenzo Romar back to Woods. Williams rebounds. These clubs have split their last 10 games. Washington has beaten Oregon the past 2 years here at Edmondson Pavilion in Seattle.
Ooh.
Burns, who's from nearby Tacoma, took quite a fall. Oregon will keep the ball. Burns was heavily recruited by Marv Harshman, but Marv says that Burns' father made it clear that he didn't want to see Ron playing behind Peter Goodmanson for a couple of years.
And now, of course, Goodmanson, who played so well last year, isn't even in the starting lineup for the Washington Huskies. But Burns will have an outstanding career, I believe, at Oregon.
Two nothing. Oregon leads. We're a minute and a half deep. Bob Frank with a baseline drive, no foul. Comes to Richard Wright. He feeds Jerome Williams, and Williams has all 4 points.
Oregon will take the fast break opportunity if it comes. They did there. And Williams is just having one of those seasons where as the season goes along, he just seems to gain more in confidence and just plays better and better. He's going to have a strong finish.
Woods tries to get Washington on the board. 2 air balls in a row for Woody.
Yeah, he's 0 for 2 and just drawing iron.
Richard Wright, a transfer from Old Dominion, to the 7-footer Ron Burns. Rebounded by Stan Walker. This is Dan Caldwell with it. Traveling violation.
It was traveling. Washington likes to come down and get that good little jump shot from about 15 to 18 feet, and they probably could have had one then, but Caldwell didn't end up taking it.
Here comes Peter Goodmanson into the game. We just talked about him, a 7'2" junior, 245-pounder out of Iceland. And Goodmanson had one of his greatest games, Lynn, against Oregon last year, 28 points and 13 rebounds.
Well, in the last 11 games last year, he averaged 17 points a game and 7 rebounds, so he can play and play well. He just needs to get a little more intensity out there, according to Coach Marv Harshman. 4-0,
Oregon, 2.5 minutes deep. Felton Seeley to Jerome Williams. He goes for his 6th point, doesn't get it, and it's rebounded by Stan Walker.
That was a hard shot that Williams tried. Maybe if he was going to the basket, he could have banked it, had a better chance of making it.
Caldwell traveled. Dan had thoughts of putting it up and then changed his mind, and that cost him.
Yeah, he's unhappy with that call, but it did look to me like he juggled his feet there a bit.
There are 3 7-footers in the Pac-10 this year, and 2 of them are now on the court, Ron Burns and Peter Goodmanson. The other, of course, is Alton Lister of Arizona State.
And it goes into one of the 7-footers, Burns. You would figure playing in the Seattle area here for the first time in his college career, and being from Seattle, he'll really want to have a good afternoon.
Ray Whiting into Burns. Goodmanson 2 inches taller. And an errant pass by Washington. Here comes Romar, 3-on-2. Bob Frank And it took Washington 3 minutes and 16 seconds to get on the board, and yet the Huskies trail only 4-2.
Yeah, that's the kind of shot we talked about Washington liking to take when they come down on the fast break. Frank will take it. Stan Walker will also take it.
And we've got a foul called on the Washington Huskies. It'll go on Peter Goodmanson.
I'm sure that Marv Harshman is really not unhappy to see him draw that foul. He says he needs to improve on defense and he needs to play a little more aggressively out there. At least he was trying something.
Oh, Jerome Williams.
Good.
Sensational dunk.
Yeah, great pass time over the head of Goodmanson, who wasn't even watching, and Williams timed it beautifully.
Jerome Williams, a 6'8" sophomore out of Pasadena. He has all 6 of the Ducks' points. Jerome had 22 against USC and 22 against Idaho for his single game highs this year. 6-2, Oregon leads it. Goodmanson had tipped away from Seeley. It goes to Wright, and he's going to try to give Oregon an 8-2 lead, and does. So the scrappy Oregon Ducks have bolted to an 8-2 lead, and Marv Harshman says, wait a minute, I've seen enough. I want to talk to my boys. 15:56 to go, first half in Seattle, and it's Oregon up by half a dozen.
Everything looks so good, I can't decide.
Well, before you do, take a look at the homeowner's insurance bill we just got.
Oh, that's steep, huh?
Before you pay, compare it with Allstate.
Allstate?
Sure, it's easy. You'll find Allstate agents at over 700 neighborhood offices, as well as at Sears. So come in and compare.
We've got a better deal.
Hey.
Now can we have lunch?
Well, now we can have anything we want, except that.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
And that's a promise from us, the good hands people.
Can your secretary go through your files this fast? Can your secretary type your letters this fast? Or send your mail this fast? Now your secretary can with the IBM Office System 6. It's that fast.
Gee, Ollie, this windshield's so messy, I can't see.
Let's watch it.
We need new wiper blades.
I know that.
Make sure your windshield wipers work when you need them. A new set of ANCO wiper blades every year is a quick and inexpensive way to see your way clear.
Ollie, without new ANCO wipers, we could have been hit by that piano. Oh. Piano? Oh!
It's not often this late in the year that you'll see a club with 3 times as many league victories on the road as at home, but that's the case with Oregon. They won at Arizona, which you saw here on TBS and NBC earlier in the year, and against USC in Los Angeles and Stanford at Palo Alto, and they've opened up a lead today, although Washington comes back and that one will count. Bob Frank in for his 3rd and 4th points.
Good little shot by Frank. Probably had he waited, come down, and maybe even taken a dribble and then gone back up, it would have had the shot blocked. But he didn't waste any time in getting the ball in the basket, so there's no defensive player that could have come over to help out.
Foul committed by Felton Seeley, and Bob Frank going to the line. Frank, an 80% free throw shooter, having an excellent year. And so it is Oregon 8, Bob Frank 5.
Yeah, well, Williams actually is leading Frank 6-5.
And Williams is really belted at the other end by Peter Goodmanson for his 2nd foul.
Although Goodmanson did play high school ball at Mercer Island here in the Seattle area. Wow, he didn't want that another dunk, did he? I don't blame him. He is from Iceland, so his basketball experience is somewhat limited. He's a junior here at Washington.
Steve Johnson of Oregon State, of course, also leads not only the Pac-10, but the nation in field goal percentage, better than 72%, and Frank right behind him in the league with 64%. Williams fails on his first free throw effort. Jerome only a 67% free throw shooter. Missed them both. That's been one of the Oregon problems, Lynn. They're not a very good free throw shooting team.
Oh, that'll hurt you, of course, especially in the late stages. There's another example of that jump shot coming down and quickly taking it out there from the corner or the wing. Walker that time did it.
Stan Walker, Washington's leading scorer, averaging almost 12 points a game, has his first 2, and it is 8-7 as the Huskies have strung together 5 straight points after falling down 8-2. Felton Seeley with a fake around Frank. Good move by Seeley.
Right-hander dribbling to his left and even shooting with his left hand. Very impressive.
5 minutes gone in Seattle. Goodmanson to Walker, out to Lorenzo Romar. Goodmanson got behind Burns and got the bounce.
They would love to have a big day offensively out of Peter Goodmanson, and he's certainly capable. Looks like Washington, after that timeout, where it was told by Marv Harshman, really, they haven't been playing very hard. You're seeing them a little more intensity out there on defense. They're not afraid to put up the shot on offense either in a hurry.
Seeley again, and Frank fouled him. First foul on Frank, third team foul on the Huskies.
And the basket apparently is not going to count, which means that it won't be a shooting foul.
Marv Harshman thought that Seeley pushed off with that left elbow.
Well, you could have called it that way, but the defensive man certainly was rubbing against the body there of Seeley also.
Right's out of bounds. And Goodmanson got hit in the neck, it looks like. Marv Harshman, 35 years as a head coach in college basketball.
He stays everywhere a long time. 13 years Pacific Lutheran, 13 at Washington State. He's in his 9th year here at Washington.
Speaking of Washington State, he has dealt George Raveling's ball club a crippling loss over at Pullman a couple of weeks ago. They were down by 11 with 9 minutes to go, and the Huskies came back to win it by 1. In fact, they won last year in Pullman.
Yeah, that is true. So Washington State now in 3rd place with a 10-3 record. But of course, they would like to change that tonight when they take on the Beavers there.
Ron Burns picks up his first foul for Washington. It's the Huskies' second. Common foul.
I think what Marv has inserted Peter Goodmanson in the game so quickly is he feels that Ron Burns, being a freshman center, might have some problems dealing with Goodmanson if he can get the offense going. Maybe if he can make that one.
Goodmanson falls down, but he's got a deuce.
Yeah, both of his baskets have gone in the same way. Not clean swishes, but he has a nice shooting touch.
Washington, for the first time this afternoon, leads Oregon. It's 11-10. 13:50 to go in the first half. Ray Whiting trying to get it back to Burns, and it's stolen by Bob Frank.
Oregon that time defensed the Frank pretty well. He wanted to take that little jump shot from the corner.
Andre Griffin's in the game for Washington for the first time. He sets a pick. Frank fires over it. Goodmanson saves it to Stan Walker. Good pass to Frank. Missed the shot, and a foul on Griffin over the back.
So far, Frank for Washington has moved better without the ball than anyone on his team. He really has gotten himself open. And teammates will start looking for you if you keep moving out there without the ball.
Washington 11, Oregon 10. Washington had a good shooting night down at Mac Court when they beat the Ducks in Eugene. They hit 52%. And it's probably the worst offensive night Oregon's had all year. Wright misses and rebounded by Walker. Stan's got a lot of rebounds early, Lynn.
He has, especially since Oregon started to miss here after shooting well at the start of the game.
Romar misses, and Seeley claims it for the Ducks. Richard Wright out of Philadelphia. Across the 10-second line, back to Seeley. The young man from Massachusetts brings it out front to Williams. Williams was fouled by Andre Griffin. Here comes Don Vaughn, number 15, into the Washington lineup for the first time. Vaughn, a 6-foot junior out of Pasco, Washington.
This is the last foul that was committed there on Washington. Another example of reaching in. Sometimes if you're a defensive player and you can keep in mind to keep your elbows close to your body, you really won't get called for reaching in.
1 point lead for Washington. Oregon led early 8-2.
Well, they cooled off, Ross. They made 4 of their first 6 shots, and they've only made 1 of their last 4. Actually,
John Gregg's in the game for the first time for Oregon, number 23, running the baseline. It comes to Williams on the high post. Out to Seeley, 26-footer off the rim. Burns rebounds. Try to get it to Gregg, and Walker kicked it out of bounds.
Burns showed why 7-footers should really not make bounce passes. It just takes too long for the ball to get down to the floor, and everyone knows it's a bounce pass. It's hard to throw.
Burns went for a hook, and inside of Williams, good out of bounds. Stan Walker on the wing outside to Bob Frank.
As we said, Oregon will exclusively play man-to-man defense. That's what they're in.
Griffin out of Minneapolis with that flat shot of his misses. Gregg's got it to Seeley. Richard Wright bangs into Vaughn. Player control foul.
It's an offensive foul was the call. The player set, really had pretty good defensive position.
Timeout, 11:46 to go, first half. Washington 11, Oregon 10.
Weekends were made for Michelob. Weekends were made for you and me.
What better way to make your own weekend a little more special than the smooth and mellow taste of Michelob?
This is just perfect. The Michelob. Oh.
Weekends were made for Michelob.
Yeah.
This bar of solid gold is worth about $160,000, but it would take a wall of real gold bars this big, $600 million, to match what Ford put into pickups and Broncos, the first new trucks of the 80s. Pickups aerodynamically designed to achieve the best gas mileage rating of any American-built standard pickup. More payload than last year based on comparable truck weights. Tough Fords out front again for the 80s.
Built Ford tough. Ford, the official trucks of the 1980 Winter Olympics.
There's a great day on NBC tomorrow as the number 5 ranked Kentucky Wildcats face the Runnin' Rebels of Nevada, Las Vegas. Then on NBC Sports World, see Women's World Cup surfing, plus full contact karate, followed by dramatic coverage of the Joe Garagiola Tucson Open, which has been delayed by rain the last couple of days. That'll start at 10 in the morning Pacific time, 11 Mountain on NBC.
Jerry Tarkanian's University of Nevada Las Vegas team, again eligible for postseason play. Most certainly they'll be in the NCAA tournament this year. They got a fine little team.
And a fine young team.
Yeah, a lot of young players. Of course, Kentucky, they'll be there also. Kyle Macy's having a great year for them.
Peter Goodmanson banks in his 5th and 6 points. And Washington's had a good run, Lynn, 11-2.
Well, it looks like Marv Harshman made a brilliant move by putting Goodmanson into the game. He's got the little jump shot going this afternoon. Even though he's guarded by a 7-footer, you can't stop it. He's 7'2", and he shoots it high.
He likes the looks of those Oregon uniforms. He lights up when he sees it.
Yeah.
Burns misses at the other end, and Goodmanson with authority.
Yeah, he's showing some aggressiveness. There's an excellent pass by Frank.
Griffin for a slam dunk. That's 8 straight points, and Washington is ahead by 5, and now Jim Haney's the man who wants the timeout and gets it. 10:51 to go, first half, and the host Huskies are in control.
Hey, you sold out of Gillette Track too. Deliveries coming any second. But why should a busy man like you have to wait when this razor will do?
Gillette Track 2 shaves me closer and smoother than that. Oh, wait.
Life is too short to wait. These will fit your Track 2 handle.
I know what I'm getting with Track 2 blades, but those, I'll wait for Gillette Track 2.
To guys who use Gillette Track 2, no other blade will do.
Track 2?
Right Guard knows that in equally active situations, men and women don't perspire equally. Men perspire more. That's why men count on Right Guard. Right Guard is so strong, so effective, it helps stop a man's perspiration odor all day long. Yes, men and women don't perspire equally. And that's why men count on Right Guard. Strong, effective Right Guard. Because men perspire more.
Sunday, orphans with magical powers flee evil billionaire. Escape to Witch Mountain, the Disney box office hit, starring Kim Richards, a 2-hour TV first.
2 of the outstanding freshman centers in America will be pitted tomorrow against each other when Kentucky faces Nevada, Las Vegas. Sam Bowie, the 7-footer of Kentucky, against 6'11" Sidney Green of Las Vegas. 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific, 11 Mountain on NBC. 2 members of the top 10 have been knocked off this afternoon. We'll have the college basketball scoreboard for you on the IBM College Report at halftime today from Seattle. John Murray in the game for the first time for Oregon, number 31. And as he passed inside, there was a foul called on the Huskies.
Marv Harshman trying to help out.
Steve Mattson, who just entered the lineup, number 10, picks up the foul. So 16 fouls on Washington, only 3 on Oregon. And Matson got the ball for the Huskies. A year ago, the Huskies were 11-16. They come in today 15-7, so quite a turnaround. But as Len pointed out, they were 9-0 against non-conference opponents.
Yeah, last year was the first losing season that Marv Harshman has had here at the University of Washington. He's got everyone back on this year's club.
Traveling on Don Vaughn before he collided with John Murray. Washington scored a seasonal low, 58 points in that game down at Mac Court, but they won it. And today they're leading 15-10, low scoring first 10 minutes. Mike Clark, the leading scorer of Oregon's in there. Player control foul will be called. Let's see if they allow the basket. Frank Bukowicz calls the foul.
It's unfortunate because this is obviously what Jim Haney wants to do. He wants to put Mike Clark in there. He's got a little bit more agility. He doesn't think that he can stay with Gudmundsson. He made a fine little move there, a good little fake, and it looked like he had himself a basket, but no, the referee says the foul is on Clark.
Matson with the ball now was a guard last year. This year, Marv's using him as a forward. There's another turnover, this time on Washington.
Some would say the pass was thrown a little bit hard, but I would say that Gudmundsson probably should have had it. Sometimes he's going to receive hard passes in there at the deep post.
John Gregg to Jerome Williams to Felton Seeley. Down low to John Gregg. He banks and misses. Tip try won't come. Goes to Williams, out to Seeley. Oregon has been stuck on 10 for about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
they led 10-7. Now they're down 15-10. Felton Seeley breaks that drought with his third and fourth points.
Seeley shows that he can shoot from the outside. Oregon, obviously, because they've won some games on the road, they have some poise, so they won't panic the fact that they've fallen behind here in the early going.
Traveling violation on the Huskies. So now the Ducks have a chance to climb within one. Edmondson Pavilion in its 52nd year of operation.
Yeah, I don't feel old when I say that I played basketball here, Ross. It's a fine little building.
Mike Clark out to John Gregg.
Turnover department so far pretty even. Oregon, of course, would like to keep their turnovers to a minimum. I don't think they really want a running full court game. Washington would.
Williams misses. Gudmundsson had it tipped away, but gets it back. Griffin gives it to Don Vaughn, and he'll set it up. Vaughn scored 17 against Oregon last year down at Eugene. 9 for 9 at the foul line. He's got a 22-footer. In and out. Gregg rebound. 15-12 Washington. 8.5 minutes to go first half. Ross Porter and Lynn Shackelford. Mike Clark misses. Clark gets it back. There's a whistle and a traveling call by Tom Harrington underneath.
Tough break once again there for Mike Clark after an excellent pass and fast break chance by Oregon.
Number 24, Steve Burks, a 6'3.5" sophomore from Kansas City, is coming in. Burks, Thursday night here against Oregon State, played the last 4 minutes and got 10 shots up before the game was over.
As Marv Harshman, I said to him before the game, he really makes things happen. He says he sure does.
Steve Matson misses it. Williams out hustles Griffin and throws it away to Gudmundsson. Don Vaughn partially blocked by Seeley, and a foul has been called on the Ducks. Bob Harrell makes the call this time. Felton Seeley with his second foul.
Play got a little bit wild there. Gudmundsson just threw the ball off, and then of course things really got hairy as everybody started going after everyone else, and it just got a little bit carried away there. And no one really had control. Well, it seems like, Ross, we've seen an excessive amount of substitutions here in the early going.
Right.
Sometimes it's really hard for the players to really get a feel for the game and what they're doing out there when there are so many guys going in and out.
Don Vaughn, the fourth best free throw shooter in the conference with 80%, makes 1 of 2. Huskies keep it alive, and Griffin stuffs it in. 18-12 Washington.
They would like to get the ball into Clark and have him work on Gudmundsson, but they'd like to have him get it a little bit deeper, like there. Couldn't get it in.
Now we've got a foul in backcourt on John Murray of the Ducks. That's his first, and it's the team's 6th. So both clubs will be in the bonus the rest of the half. We've got 7:32 to go. If you joined us a bit late, Oregon led early 8-2 and then later 10-7, but then this man, Marv Harshman, called a timeout. And so his Huskies come back, and they've now outscored Oregon 16-4.
Wow.
In the last